Welcome to This Week in Westerly with your hosts, Ben Barber and Michael Niemeyer. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to This Week in Westerly. My name is Ben Barber. This is the wonderful Michael Niemeyer. Mike, what's new this week in Westerly? Take it away.
Well, this week I just wanted to kind of report some nice news. There were no reported deaths from COVID in Rhode Island on Friday, yesterday. I think that's just wonderful.
That's amazing.
I know. We hit 500,000 Rhode Island residents vaccinated, at least with their first shot, which for a state of 1 million people, we're doing great. It's so wonderful to hear. And perhaps the most exciting news of all, on May 28th, most COVID restrictions will be lifted. So here we go. That renaissance we've been talking about on this program this whole time is right there. It's right on the horizon, and I can't wait to see everyone out there.
Yeah, that's going to be awesome. There are some restrictions that are being lifted May 7th. And then a lot more restrictions that are being lifted May 28th. Mm-hmm. And of course, there are still precautions and it's still out there and it's still real. So there's a bunch of, look at that document. And I saw a wonderful illustration chart from the New York Times yesterday of the 2 out of 3 rule for outdoors. It was basically, do you need a mask? Are you outdoors? Yes. Are you more than 6 feet apart? Yes. No, you don't need a mask. Are you outdoors? Are you less than 6 feet apart? Maybe wear a mask. Like this chart was really nice and really helpful. The no COVID deaths reported yesterday is huge. That's amazing. Obviously, we hope that trend continues. I also saw a statistic yesterday that hospitalizations of senior citizens have gone down 80% since the beginning of the year, which is wonderful proof that these vaccines are working. It's there's a lot of hope, and there's a lot of hope for the businesses in town and across the state. And today on the show, we have the executive director, I believe, president. I'm not sure what her official title is. President. I don't. She's the head lady in charge of the Westerly Pawtucket, the Ocean Community Chamber of Commerce, and one of the hardest working people in the entire town, Lisa Konicki. Hey, Lisa.
Good morning, guys.
Good morning.
How are you?
I am doing great, and it's Westerly Pawcatuck, not Pawtucket. We're always growing, but we haven't expanded.
Can I say that I was doing a COVID vaccine information Q&A with the mayor of Pawtucket, and I said Pawcatuck.
Oh,
and I was like, at the very end, like we've talked for 15 minutes about where to get your vaccines. This is a month ago. About where to get your vaccines, about who to call, about like what the age group is, all of this stuff. And I'm like, all right, great. So the number is this. And if you are a citizen of Pawcatuck, no, I did it. I was so mad. So the fact that I just did this again.
Don't worry about it.
I'm actually excited because I'm going to clip this and I'm going to put those two moments together now. Just anytime I can make myself look worse, I take that opportunity.
It just goes to show how worldly you are, that you actually are one of those rare folks that get out of Westerly and get out of Pawcatuck and go to other parts of the state of Rhode Island. And so it's an innocent slip. We'll forgive you.
That's a common misconception. The furthest I've gone is that interview was in my basement and this interview is outside of my basement.
On your deck.
Yes. But so you've had quite a year.
Yes.
Do you want to start by telling us about everything that the chamber has been doing?
Sure. Well, since COVID hit the world, and certainly our corner of the world as well, we've had to rally. We've had to step up our efforts. When the first phrase came out that only essential businesses could stay open, I can't tell you like how the hairs on my arm just rose and said, what do you mean essential? Every business is essential. If you've spent your life and your dreams and your money and your hard work building a business, I don't care if you're a one-man operation or you have 50 employees and multi-millions in sales, it is essential to you and to your family and often to your customers and the trickle-down effect. So we decided our chamber is essential. We're not closing. And we didn't. We stayed open. In fact, we expanded our hours. We went 7 days a week. We were here till 10:30 at night. We did whatever needed to be done to support those businesses, regardless of whether or not they were fitting the definition, the state or the government definition of what essential is. And the reality is they needed us. So if you're an exporter and you are sending to certain countries, you have to have what's called a certificate of origin, and it has to be something that's signed off on and stamped by a chamber of commerce. Other chambers, in some cases, literally closed their office. People went home and did all the Zoom thing. You could come to our office, and people did from all over, to get their certificates of origin stamped and sealed so that those manufacturers could continue their business. Our town manager, Mark Rooney, on town letterhead put, this chamber of commerce is essential. We need them to stay in business, in case I would have ever gotten a visit from the state or, pulled over and said, why are you driving when it's a lockdown situation? You're supposed to be home unless it's an emergency. I had a town letter that said this chamber is essential to our community. And so we just did everything. We got supplies donated in terms of disinfectant and got it out into the community. Before masks were even legally required, we had hundreds of them fabricated by local seamstresses using fabric that we got donated. And we were driving them around and dropping them off to businesses. And people were coming to our office and picking them up, residents. So our building was very much, it was actually busier during COVID in terms of the number of people coming to the building than it would have been in a normal non-COVID year. And then the thing, of course, I'm most proud about is our grants. So we gave out a lot of money, and today I'll be able to talk about a little bit more grant money that we are going to offer.
Well, I think that the fact that you were busier during COVID is such a testament to how essential the chamber is to this community. I know every time I read a news story this year, it seemed like you were in it because you were just there on the ground doing the work. And I just want to thank you so much for doing that for our community.
Listen, nobody likes to feel helpless, especially me. I'm a problem solver. I want to get over the hurdle. And at least for businesses, my job is to get out there ahead of the hurdles and remove them so that the businesses can move forward. And so in a really kind of sick way, I like the challenge. I like the challenge of having to find new ways of doing things and generate money for members in ways that they didn't think was possible. And our Facebook Live shopping program, or it was kind of a QVC format. That just was like, okay, everyone's trapped at home, sitting on their couch, bored and sick and tired of watching horrible news reports. Let's give them something fun. I know I like to shop, and who doesn't like to shop from wearing their bunny slippers and their pajamas at home? And we made so much money for retailers. It was astonishing. It was actually astonishing. Thousands of dollars in like a 45-minute segment. I had a business make $8,000 from our chamber, program, because the community rallied. They listened to our pleas of, these are small businesses, or mom and pops, or your friends, or your neighbors. If you want them to get on the other side of this crazy situation, they need your help now. And so we had people buying Christmas presents, in March of last year, in April of last year, through these programs. And it was so, it was just so encouraging and heartwarming to see how much people genuinely cared about the small business owners.
That's wonderful. I think I remember a Rhode Island Monthly article that featured a business that got 2 months worth of rent.
Yeah, they cried. That was the first business that we did. I mean, we didn't know how this was going to go over. And when we went live that first Saturday at 10 in the morning, we had about 140 people that were watching us live at 10 o'clock. And at 10:45, they had done about, I think, $1,200 or $1,500 in sales. And that business owner was tearing up. He couldn't hug us, but he wanted to hug us. And he said, "You just paid my rent for 2 months." Like it lifted such a burden for him. And we were so charged up by that result. It was like, oh my God, this is awesome. We have the power to do something really good here. Let's keep doing it. And so you saw we were doing 12-hour days. We were going every 45 minutes to a different business. Maria and I, like two crazy ladies, getting in our car and driving to the next business and setting up shop while the other one was doing, the other video clip. And we just did it. And it was invigorating. And it just felt so good. Like, oh my God, we're doing something that really matters. It's a tangible benefit.
Wow. A two-woman economic engine keeping the town afloat. That's wonderful. The work continues because now you have 4 grants coming up for small businesses, as I understand.
Yeah, so we've been advertising to our members every grant that's out there, whether it's a state grant, a federal grant, something that's a one-off like a Samuel Adams grant. Those are funds by other groups or organizations. We troll and look for that information and we send it out instantly because so many of these are competitive or time sensitive. And so we like to be like right on it and get it out there. But then we ourselves, as a nonprofit, we have a 501c3 foundation through the chamber, which is separate from the Chamber of Commerce business organization. It's a charitable group. And so we raised for business grants $34,000 as of about a week and a half ago. We've given it all out. We've posted on Facebook every time we give a check. It is a very transparent process as to who's getting the money. Does not matter if the business is a chamber member or not. When it comes to a crisis like this, it's all hands on deck, and we want to help everyone. We want to help everyone in a normal environment, but in this environment, just as much. People need cash, they need resources, they need marketing. So we've been thrilled to be able to give out grants ranging from the smallest was $600. And the largest, I think, was $800. And some people opted for cash plus a 1-year chamber membership. So it reduced the amount of cash by the chamber membership cost because they wanted to become part of the chamber family and get that marketing, year-long marketing bang, which has been great. But we thought we were done with the program because we had really worked hard. We were selling T-shirts. We were begging for money everywhere you can think of. And we gave it all away. And then out of the blue last week, we got a call from a gentleman in Richmond, Rhode Island that said he's been following what we're doing. Him and his wife just got their stimulus checks. And he said, we were not affected by COVID. We were not laid off. We don't need this money. We are doing fine. And we really oppose, in his words, the draconian measures that were imposed upon the businesses. So he was asking us about our foundation and whether or not he could send us money and we would get it in the hands of small businesses as we've been doing for the past year. So I just opened a check the other day. It's $2,800, and that will equate to 4 more grants that we will be able to give out. And so that process will open on Monday, and people will have to get their applications into us by noon on Friday. And we can't wait to put that money to good use. And of course, we'll tell him who the 4 recipients are, and he'll see it on Facebook, but he's asked to remain, him and his wife would like to remain anonymous, which is fine. And we've had other businesses in town or in the region that are doing well that weren't affected by COVID that sponsored memberships for a year, like adopted a business for a year and paid the dues for somebody that was struggling and couldn't do it. And some of those choose to be anonymous and some don't mind having their name put out there. So every Friday when we do an email communication to our members, we update that list of who those sort of, angel businesses are in our community that have been saying, hey, I'm doing well. I'm going to spend $225 and sponsor someone that's really not doing well. I've seen a lot of tears, some tears of fear, and then some tears of joy through this whole process. People think business, it's just business. No. Business is about the people that own the business, the people that work at the business. These are your friends. These are your neighbors. I have close relationships with these folks. I am vested in their success. And so for me, it's deeply personal. And to be able to do anything that helps them is so gratifying. And that just fuels the tank for Maria DiMaggio and myself to keep going and keep doing it. So we love our work.
That's so wonderful. And I mean, I guess huge thanks to that donor who saw that
amazing.
need. I know you want to remain anonymous, but if you're watching, thank you so much from everyone in Westerly.
Yeah.
If someone doesn't know how to apply for those grants, where can they go?
So they can shoot me an email or call the office. The office is 401-596-7761. Or my email is Konicki, KONICKI @oceanchamber.org. And starting Monday, for people that request the application, we'll send it out. You have to have 30 employees or less. And it's a simple application. It takes under 5 minutes. You don't have to give us your losses in terms of, I lost $30,000. You give us documented information in terms of percentage of sales lost during a certain set of time. And you check off whether or not you've applied for and or received some other funding sources. And this grant is only available to those that have not previously received money through our Chamber Foundation this past year from COVID. You can't double dip, basically, because there's a lot of need out there. We want to make sure we spread it around. And we've given these grants to musicians that had all their gigs canceled, small retailers, restaurants. It's really run the gamut.
That's wonderful. I think if it's okay, I'd like to zoom out a little bit from the current crisis, and just, if folks are interested, could you tell us a bit about the history of the Chamber? When did it come about?
About 95 years ago, a group was called the Westerly Board of Trade, and they decided to change their name officially to the Westerly Chamber of Commerce. And then in the 1950s is when they formally registered with the Secretary of State under the name Greater Westerly Pawcatuck Area Chamber of Commerce, which is quite a mouthful, and to try to fit all those words, Greater Westerly Pawcatuck Area Chamber of Commerce, on a logo, it was bulky, it was cumbersome, it was awkward. I get what they were trying to do. They were trying to say, we're not just Westerly, we want to help you if you're in Stonington or Richmond. But eventually, after I tried 2 or 3 times in my tenure here, I convinced my board that it was time to rebrand, which included a new name and a new logo. Fortunately, what made it easier for me is the Ocean Community YMCA had embarked on this same process. And so while they have locations in Richmond, Mystic, and Westerly, they chose a more global name of Ocean Community Y. So my pitch to my board was, hey, they did it, and they didn't suffer a negative fallout. It takes a while to get used to the new name and the new logo, but we're servicing the same area they are. Why not? So we considered a bunch of names, and we actually checked with the Y to make sure that they had no objections to us, and they loved it. And what a lot of people don't know is the United Theater downtown, its legal name is Ocean Community United Theater.
No way.
Look it up on the Secretary of State's. There's also a church downtown Westerly on Main Street that's Ocean Community something church. Yeah, we're not the only ones. So who knows, maybe 50 years from now, this will be a branded Ocean Community business region. Who knows? But I like the new name. I think everybody feels inclusive, as opposed to, why isn't Richmond in your name, or why isn't Stonington in your name instead of just Pawcatuck? Because we got a lot of members from Stonington specifically, and Mystic. So it works for us. But we're here to help. And we have a lot of programs throughout the year that are marketing related. Basically, for me, it's very simple. We want to make businesses money, or we want to save them money. And there's a lot of ways we can do that. But we're a community organization as well. We're not just all about business exclusively. You've probably seen, we just recently conducted 297 visits to residential homes in Westerly, dressed as the Easter Bunny, so that we could do COVID-safe egg hunts at home for families who went online and registered with us. They just got to tell us which day and which time slot they wanted, and we brought the free candy, the bunny, the baskets, and made it happen. That's not something we're really hoping to do every single year, because it's quite an undertaking. Okay, but we've done it now for 2 years. We've done it. So our bunny team has grown, and the families like it.
As bunnies do.
As they do, they multiply.
Yes.
But, the kids were waking up and coming out in their pajamas. They didn't even have to brush their teeth or anything. Here we are, the bunnies here. It was great for the families, and I understand why they would love it. And I got to tell you, my board members are great sports, and they had a lot of fun doing it. But we're also looking forward to returning, some traditions to the way they used to be, or maybe, finding a hybrid model somewhere in between. Personally, I'm not a fan of the egg hunt. I think the concept of taking a little kid and pumping them up and telling them to go out there and fight for their eggs, and it's like a field of locusts when I look out at Wilcox Park, and I'm always like, oh, yay. And I have 3 kids, so I've done it all. This was much more civilized, one-on-one, 20 eggs a child, there was no chaos. So there's aspects of it that I like, and we're toying with maybe there is a way to do the egg hunt differently in the future. So we'll see. But we're really stubborn about doing stuff despite COVID. When you look at, I don't want to pick on anyone because I'm just sort of drawing some comparisons of neighboring chambers and putting out the positivity and keeping this economy going and still being a driving force of the local economy. And you know what? If it's not your chamber of commerce, then your chamber should just close its doors and turn in the keys and walk away. This was an opportunity for chambers to shine, is how I look at it. And we've stepped up, and I feel great about what we've accomplished so far.
And I think that you really did shine. I think that has been a wonderful year so far, and the shining continues because there's an event underway right now. Every Sunday Fundays. I know that this really matches with the ethos of this program of trying to bring a renaissance to this area. I'm so excited about it. I can't wait to go to this next one. Could you tell some folks who don't know about it, Sunday Fundays?
Sure. So every Sunday, we've got 4 more scheduled, although the weather is looking ominous tomorrow, and we may end up having to cancel that one. But every Sunday, right up until the Sunday prior to Memorial Day, we take High Street in downtown, which is roughly a 2.5 block area. We put up barriers at the end, and the police are there as friendly ambassadors to create a pedestrian marketplace. So cars can't go through, but people and strollers and bikes come into this marketplace. All of the shops, restaurants, wineries, cigar bars, you name it, they come out into the street. They literally expand their business footprint by coming out into the street with their tables and their chairs and their product. So it's kind of like a sidewalk sale for the retailers, but bigger because they've got a bigger area. And you can be sitting on a big comfy velvet couch at Perks and Corks drinking a martini in the middle of the street from noon to 8 on these Sundays. And what's really fun is because we know live artists have lost all their gigs, every single event pretty much for the past year, we hire 3 bands every week, whether it's a one-person, acoustic or an actual band of 3 or 4 people. We pay them. We're not asking them to donate their services. We get sponsors for them. And so no matter when you come to Sunday Funday during that 8-hour time frame, there's at least 1, but usually 2 live performances taking place at opposite ends of the street. We bring in pop-up vendors, so they can be boutiques from other parts of town, like some of the Watch Hill boutiques have come in. We bring in artists that sell oil paintings and pottery and different things. So depending on which week you come, it could be a completely different group of retailers than was there the previous week. We've got someone in town that makes healthy dog biscuits. She's got a booth there. Last week we had Stonington Kelp, which they teach you how to use kelp in recipes and things. And they were there with an informational booth. It's really an interesting mix of businesses, all local, and a safe way to get people to come out and walk around and see friends and neighbors. You see, it's very comfortable. It's very spacious, socially distanced. It's never a situation where we're overwhelmed or swarmed with attendance. It's a steady audience throughout the day. And it really is fun. It earns its name, Sunday Funday.
And it varies so much week to week. It's really worth it to come more than 1 week. Even like if you've been, you haven't seen it all. It'll be different next time.
Yeah, the music's different each week, and some of the vendors are different. And now tomorrow, for example, we have a girl, Justine, who is a hula hoop artist. Who knew there was such a thing? So she takes like 40 hula hoops and she does them, swirls them on her body at the same time. And she makes these interesting artistic displays where she looks like a human slinky, or she looks like a butterfly, or whatever. And she has audience participation. So there's, again, pop-up artists like that make it fun for the kids when they come down. A little bit of everything.
It's wonderful. I think my daughter would love that. She loves hula hooping. What day is she going to be there?
She's supposed to be there tomorrow, which is the 24th, I think the date. Let me see. Is tomorrow the 24th? Tomorrow's the 25th. But again, I'm watching the weather on my phone. I'm going to have to call it either late tonight or by 8 a.m. tomorrow as to whether or not we might have to cancel tomorrow, which would be the first time. We had 7 glorious days in the fall, and last week was a great day as well. So we'll have to see.
Where could we go to see whether or not it's on?
Our Facebook page, Ocean Community Chamber of Commerce Facebook page. I'll also make sure to get the notification out to WBLQ so that Chris can put it on the radio. And, of course, I'll have to notify the police department. I have a list of about 40 participants that I would be canceling if that's the case, which I don't like to cancel. But the reality is this event is supposed to boost business for downtown. If it's raining, people aren't going to come out and walk around. Bands certainly can't be playing in the rain. So it's better if we just cancel it. That way people can drive their cars and park right up in front of Koi or Malted Barley and Perks and still have their lunch. But they're not going to want to walk 3 or 4 blocks in the rain, especially when there's nothing happening in the street, because my vendors will just bail on me.
Well, fingers crossed. I'd love for my daughter to see that hula hooper.
She'll be there at least one more time during this series. So check out our each week has its own dedicated event on our Facebook page, and the entertainers are listed. So we'll update that on Monday if we have to bump just this gal to another day.
Well, that's wonderful. And another wonderful thing that you do as a chamber is you reward excellence with your Citizen of the Year award. Could you tell us a little bit about who's getting that award this year?
Sure. We love this award because what we try to do is find an individual who's out there doing incredible, selfless things for the community. And that usually involves some sort of concentrated volunteerism, either for one organization over a sustained period of time, or maybe they're involved in 10 or 12 different organizations. It really doesn't matter. We've had a very prestigious group of honorees in the past, from Chuck Royce to people like Nick Stahl of the Westerly Hospital Foundation, Mal Macon, just a lot of great people. But this year, the committee selected Spike Lobdell. He is a Stonington resident, and he is the founder, the visionary behind New England Science and Sailing. It's a nonprofit organization in Stonington Borough whose real core mission is education about sailing and the water, and to bring students of all ages, literally up into their 90s, from youngest kids right up to their 90s, out on the water to help them build confidence, learn skills, and to be able to apply some of these skills later in life, overcoming their fears and challenges. So what started as one man's dream, he is now for the past 12 years been the unpaid president and CEO of this multi-million-dollar nonprofit that in the summer has 75 full-time employees. So he quit his job on Wall Street to do this full-time as an impassioned volunteer. And they're nationally accredited. They are just an incredible organization. And what he does for Ness is just one part of who he is. He served on boards of many other nonprofits. He was one of the founders of the Yacht Club there in Stonington. He was one of the original founders of LaGrua Center, the cultural organization in the borough. So he's really given a lot to the community on multiple fronts, and we cannot wait to honor him.
thank you so much for telling us about Spike Lobdell. What a worthy individual, and congratulations and thank you to him for all he's done. I think that's just wonderful. Well,
impressive, right?
I know.
Yeah.
To give up all of that and to just make your vision come true, it's really inspiring.
And let me tell you, as long as he's been doing it, in his mind, and he's in his 70s, he's just getting started. Like, he's always 10 steps ahead for where he wants that organization to go and to grow, which is very inspiring to his staff. I had the honor yesterday of interviewing about 11 people for the film that we'll put together, sort of the testimonial video about him, a tribute video, if you will. And I learned a lot about him during the process, and clearly he motivates others to bring out their best work and to give in the community with their resources and talents. Great guy.
Such an integral part of personal excellence is bringing out the best in others. That is a wonderful trait to have, and I'm so glad that someone who has it is being honored in this way. Well, speaking of that, I brought it up earlier, that Rhode Island Monthly article from last May.
Yes.
During that article, you said Gina for president. And since that time, she's become our commerce secretary. I was wondering if you had any commentary there.
So there was a lot of social media flack during that period of time for any government official that was involved with setting the new rules in a COVID environment. And the rules were changing quickly. They were getting more strict. People were getting frustrated. And she was getting attacked both at press conferences and on social media. And frankly, I felt sorry for her. I live in Connecticut, right over the border in Stonington, and I work here in my office in Westerly, but we're a regional organization. So I see how things are handled on both sides of the state line for sure, and try to keep track of what's going on in general in New England. I was very proud of the job that she did for Rhode Island. I thought she was steadfast. She delivered a succinct message week after week. It was not chaos. It was not paranoia. You might not have liked the message every week, but she was honest and she was upfront, and she did the best at balancing a lot of different challenges and priorities. And she's a business person first and foremost, as well as a mother, but she cares about business deeply. And that's been displayed through her workforce development programs that she's added so much additional funding to while she was the governor here in Rhode Island. So I've had nothing but good thoughts about her when she was in her post here. She's come to Westerly numerous times and has been really generous with her time. So, when I said Gina for president, that was my way of saying, you go, girl. I think you're doing great. I don't know of anyone that could have done that job better, given a national pandemic and on-the-job learning that we were all doing at the time. So I'm proud of her for excelling into the position she has now. I wish her the best of luck. And at the same time, I think Dan McKee's a great guy. And aren't we fortunate that we had somebody so talented, so engaged, so business oriented, and someone who also likes Westerly, waiting in the wings to step up and take over and go forward. It's the best of all worlds.
We really had a lucky 1-2 punch there with that. Well, thank you so much for sharing that with us. I just wanted to kind of follow up. When I read that, I was like, oh, I wonder if I could ask her about that.
Sure. We're not a political organization. That is not a chamber endorsement of any person or party. That's just Lisa Konicki saying, I think she's doing a great job and good for her.
Just speaking as Lisa. That's
you got
great.
It.
Thank you so much. So there's an interesting thing. I haven't done much research into what this actually is, but when we were emailing back and forth, there was a mention of a Stonington lobster trap tree.
Yes.
And I know nothing about this. Fill me in.
So we haven't put a lot out there about it, but in 2018, I was in Gloucester, Mass, walking through their downtown, and I came around the corner and there was this giant 40-foot tree made exclusively out of lobster traps. And you could walk inside of it, and people did. And apparently this tree is like an annual landmark that gets constructed by some folks in the community, and it becomes a gathering place. It becomes a selfie spot, a place for holiday sing-alongs. People have been proposed to there. People get their Christmas card pictures taken there. It's just grown over the years, and it's a tradition of more than 20 years in Gloucester. So of course I took a ton of pictures of it, and I was like, how did I not know about this? I've never seen one. In doing research since then, because I get ideas anytime I travel, and I just sort of file them away for the, hey, maybe one day we'll do something like this category. I found that there's at least 15 other lobster trap trees throughout New England. And I'm like, how come I don't have one? Okay. So yeah, you're pulling some up. This is my favorite, the Gloucester one. See how you can walk inside it? It's got like a wooden entrance, and it's covered with hundreds, like 400 buoys. And these buoys in Gloucester are all hand painted by children and family members. So they have workshops where they get together, and there'll be 50 people in a room sharing supplies and having a great time in early November, painting their family buoy with their name on it or their favorite scene or whatever. And then there's a ceremony where the tree gets erected by some local construction related folks and engineering type folks and volunteers. Then the lobster pots are assembled, the lights get put on, the buoys get put on, and then they have a tree lighting ceremony that hundreds, and I mean hundreds of people go to. And they do this in Kennebunkport, and they do it on Block Island, apparently. And I never knew about any of those. So in 2019, I was like, oh, I'm going to do that next year, and ours is going to be great. But then it didn't get off the ground. And then, of course, COVID last year. So it's back. The bee is back in my bonnet. We are doing a Stonington lobster trap tree. Okay. It's going to be held on Small Business Saturday will be the lighting ceremony. It will be in Stonington Borough on the town property near the Stonington Town docks where the fishing fleet comes in. And the reason that location was suggested by the merchants in Stonington, they have their own little association. They said, we want to shine the light on our fishing village because Stonington's known for its amazing fresh seafood. So while we could have pursued putting the tree at the point where down by Du Bois Beach or, by Town Hall or in any of these other, they thought putting it there will bring people into the borough, which supports the business district, but it also shines a light on the fishing industry, which is such an integral part of Stonington's history. So we got permission from the selectmen last week. They voted unanimously to allow us to use the property. We have to raise $25,000 to $30,000 to buy the traps, buoys, lights, tie wraps, insurance, everything that's involved. And we're up to $6,150 as of this morning.
Okay.
So it will happen. I know it will happen. Whether the tree is 10 feet tall this first year or 30 feet tall, it's going to happen. The more people who sponsor a lobster trap at $150, where one trap gets dedicated to the project and your name will be listed that you supported it, and you get one buoy that you can paint on your own. Okay, take it home and paint it any way you like. You can do it yourself, have your kids do it, have a professional artist do it. We don't really care. It'll be clear coated, and then it'll be hung on the tree with the rope that we'll put. So as of right now, there's 31 artists in the 2-state area that have buoys that look a lot better than the one I just held up, because I slapped that together just to show people what I was talking about. That's my handiwork. But there's professional artists that are painting them all over Stonington, Westerly. I've got 4 artists in Coventry, Rhode Island. I've got one in Old Saybrook, Connecticut. So the artist community loves it, and their work will be on the tree as well. And when the tree comes down, we will auction off those original pieces of art on those buoys and use any of the funds from the auction to help pay for what could be a gap between how much we raise and what it costs to put this tree up, because it's a big undertaking.
Now, you said $150. How do I get my hands on one of those buoys?
I give it to you. I have them in my car right now.
If someone
I
wants,
delivered 4 this morning before this interview. I'm not even kidding.
if someone wants to set up getting one of those buoys and donating and making this happen, where can they go?
So they can write a check to the Ocean Community Chamber of Commerce for $150. Send it to 1 Chamber Way, Westerly, Rhode Island, 02891. We will acknowledge your participation, and we will arrange, if you're local, obviously, to get your buoy to you. You can either come to the office and pick it up, or I'll drive it to you, like I did this morning, to several folks in the community that want to be a part of it.
That is so cool.
It's going to be cool. And it might end up being a new tradition. It might be something that starts, small or medium size this year, and then it grows each year. But what I'm really excited about is the workshops where the kids can learn more about their town and the unique landmarks in their town and the history of their town. And not that they have to paint buoys about their town. They could paint a buoy of the Boston Red Sox if that's what inspires them. We want to just get children engaged in the arts and build that community pride all the time and coordinate projects that harness the positive energy and talents of a lot of people into something that's good and generates commerce by driving people to that. So this kind of checks off all those boxes. And it's our first real initiative in Stonington Borough as a Chamber of Commerce. So we're happy to do that and to support those businesses over there as well.
The vision of this really gets me. I'm really excited about this over here. The ethos of this program is reintroducing Westerly to itself, bringing people together and letting people know what's going on. And you have an event coming up where people can do that, the networking luncheon on April 30th. Could you tell us a little bit about that coming up?
Sure. So April 30th at 12 noon, we'll be at Venice Restaurant on Shore Road. Anyone can sign up for it. It is a networking luncheon where business people introduce themselves, say who they are, who they represent, and part of the purpose is to make those valuable connections, because a lot of us are sort of over the whole, Zoom thing, and many of us are vaccinated now and are ready to sit socially distanced, but have a lunch together, and to also get introduced to a speaker of a great community organization. So for about 7 or 8 minutes, Ruth Terechkova of the Franco Lean Center, she will be our speaker, and she will talk about her role there as a newly appointed executive director, less than 2 months on the job, what their board's vision is, what their mission is as an organization to help people in our community meet their dreams and their goals, and how you can help, how you can either volunteer or support the Olean Center or just have a better awareness of this incredible resource that we have right here in our community. So you get to eat, you get to meet, and you get to congratulate Ruth and learn about a great nonprofit. It's a win-win.
That sounds amazing.
So cool. Sorry, someone is mowing the lawn outside my window. I don't know if you can hear that.
That's fine. We just had the lawn mowed yesterday, and and it's nice out, and then it was really cold. My allergies just got the best of me, which is why I ducked out for a second. So between those two things, and the fact that we're coming up on 45 minutes of Lisa's time, we should probably wrap this up. Thank you, Lisa. Is there something that you want to leave everybody with before we go? And Mike, was there any more questions that you?
I have one about chamber gift certificate sales. If you'd like to quickly.
So I will leave with that. Thank you. It's a thank you, a combination. Thank you for supporting everybody who has supported so loyally with their shopping, their dining, their takeout, everything. They've rallied. We had our best year of gift certificate sales in the history of the chamber during the COVID year. Our best year. So we sold $257,000 worth of gift certificates that can only be redeemed locally at a business in our community. So it went up dramatically from the previous year because people responded to that rally of show your support, keep your money in your community. So thanks to those who did it. We appreciate it. The gift certificates are sold year round here at our office in increments of 10, 25, and 50. and they make great gifts for graduation, Mother's Day, birthdays. It doesn't have to just be at Christmas time. So that's it. I appreciate everyone. If you're looking to volunteer in any way, we can always use great volunteers at our office, whether it's for a one-day event or here in the office helping us, interfacing with tourists that come in, or stuffing envelopes, or making phone calls. We have a lot to do. It's a little beehive of activity here, and we love meeting new people and getting them involved.
Awesome.
Thank you so much for being with us this morning. And we appreciate so much all that you've done this past year and for the past 25 years for this community. I don't know how this community could ever thank you enough.
I get my thanks every day. Love my job, and I get to work with great people. But thank you. It was a pleasure being with you both this morning.
Thank you, Lisa.
Take care.
Have a good one.
I'm sure we'll talk again soon. Bye. Oh man, that was awesome. Was that your first time meeting Lisa, Mike?
That was. I was going to mention, every time I've researched one of our guests, trying to figure out more about their organizations, Lisa's name has been in the article. Like she's just involved in everything. It's wonderful to finally meet her and get a chance to thank her for all she's done for us.
Absolutely. I just want to hammer home one thing that I've been saying for a year on different, on the small business town hall and that we do with with Dan McKee and now Sabina Matos and the Lieutenant Governor Sabina Matos and that the business over breakfast and stuff, is that small businesses are not just small businesses, right? They're I think Rhode Island is something like 99% of the business in Rhode Island is small businesses. And those small businesses are they're the jobs, right? They're people's hopes and dreams, like Lisa said. And that's so important and can't be undervalued, but they're also the jobs in the community, right? When your kid is 16 and wants their first job, they're going to a small business more than likely. When you need something, you go to when you're an organization and a nonprofit, if your kid needs a shirt for their little league team, right? If they need jerseys for their little league team, who do you go to for donations? When Mike, you and I, we mention this somehow every week. You and I grew up doing theater, both for school and a community theater. How did we raise money for those? Right, we went to local small businesses, and we got ads for the local pizza place or the local, lawn care company, and we put ads in the program. And did those ads in the program for the theater company really help those businesses? No, those businesses helped us. We gave them an ad, but for a high school theater company, how much did that ad really help that small business? A very small amount. But how much did that small business help help create a situation where these kids in school were able to play sports, or able to do theater, or able to be in a dance recital and offset those costs? It's not just about economy, it's about community. And our friends own and work at small businesses. Our kids do things that are supported by small businesses. Like, it is an ecosystem more than an economy. And I think that is the thing that 2020 and 2021 has reminded us all. But I still think that it's worth saying, right?
Absolutely. I know for me, the small business that immediately came to mind was Mom Pa's Country Store over in Hope Valley.
Yes.
I worked there for many years. They put me through college. And to this day, if you ask me, don't tell my current boss, but the best boss I ever had was Larry Walsh at Mom Pa's Country Store. And God, I just love that place so much. And I think there's a lot of small businesses out there with people like me who remember very fondly our time there, and want so much for them to succeed. And that's why I was so thankful to Lisa just now, because hey, there she is making it happen.
Yeah. And not for nothing, those the businesses that we look at to some extent in the area as chains are franchises with franchisees who live and work in this town. And to bring, like, for example, like the official, first of all, I love Mom Paws, and I'm so glad that you brought that up, because I cannot wait to go get a grinder for Mom Paws at some point in a couple weeks. But D'Angelo, right? D'Angelo, not D'Angelo's, because there's no S, even though everyone thinks there is. But D'Angelo in Westerly was like the official sponsor almost for all of those community theater shows that we did. And is it a chain? Like, yeah, it's a small chain in New England, and there's dozens of them. But the owner is Jim, and he's there every day, and he lives in this town, and his kids live in this town, and he supports soccer teams. And you know what I mean? Like, that's these organizations, these businesses are the heart of the community, because it's a fabric, right? It's all interwoven, and we couldn't have done the things that we did. You and I would not have been friends if we didn't have the support of business owners like that, who were able to help us. So now in these times when we all need to help each other, and we always have. So
let's keep that heart beating, and let's support our local businesses.
Absolutely. Also, let's keep, be smart about your decisions, because let's keep 0 COVID deaths yesterday. That's so amazing. Let's make sure that keeps happening. Okay. Be smart and be excited, because hopefully this thing's coming to an end soon. Mike, you are my favorite person, buddy. I will talk to you soon. If you want to be a guest on This Week in Westerly, please. I don't have your where is your email? I'm in a different folder. I'm in Dave's folder. I got it. Where is it? There you go. If you want to be a guest on This Week in Westerly, email Michael T. Niemeyer. Just read it. NIEMEYER @gmail.com. Mike, what are you looking forward to most about this next week?
Well, what comes first to my mind is that next week we will be, I don't know if you can hear that and if it's drowning me out.
Who cares? Go, talk.
Next week we'll be interviewing our guests will be from the Westerly Library, and I have a ton of questions for them. I love their historical section. We've actually just this week done our first This Week in Westerly history post. It was a lovely poem published 170 years ago in Westerly. I just published the end. Let me see if I can remember how it goes. The end goes, what place is it that every man is proud to call his fatherland? A place of squashes, beets, and peas, a land of gingerbread and cheese, Rhode Island. And I just thought that was a wonderful blast from the past.
That's beautiful, man. That's awesome. How was Melissa's birthday?
It actually went really well, but we're having the official birthday tonight.
Okay.
We held it off a little bit so that my fully vaccinated sister could come up and be part of it.
I love it. Tell her I said hello, and enjoy the festivities, my friend.
I will. Thank you
All
so
right.
much. You enjoy your week. You're one of my favorite people of all time, and I can't wait to see you again.
Absolutely. Bye, guys. Have a great week, and we'll see you next Saturday at 10 a.m.
Bye-bye.